Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching me from. My name is Lucy and I want us to look at narcissistic personality. Who has or what is narcissistic? Narcissistic personality disorder is actually a mental condition whereby an individual exhibits a lot of self-love. They are bloated with the self-importance, and in them no one else matters. And it is a person who is actually affected cognitively by the air of importance, and they feel that if it is not me, no one else. And this person is actually obsessed with self-admiration, and they likewise want to be admired by others. And unfortunately, I want us to say this categorically, that it is more in men than in women. And people with narcissistic personality disorder, they have a lot of personal conflict with themselves and with other people. They do not know how to have a healthy relationship. They have toxic relationships. And therefore, we want to look at them and identify that we have toxic problems and we need to work on ourselves, and we want to build those relationships. We want to have our cognition, thoughts, processes, and change how we do to other people, because it is doable to change this kind of a personality within ourselves. We can work on ourselves. How does it come about? Unfortunately enough, it is a genetic issue. We are born with the trait of narcissistic personality from the genetic, either from the mother or from the father, who also grew up in a toxic home. And therefore, we find that if we bring up our children with such kind of a pain, they are likely also to exhibit from the environment they have grown in narcissistic personality. And you may find that their families who are full of abusing each other, and they don't know how to solve their problems. What are the types of personality, narcissistic personality? To start with, let us look at toxic narcissistic personality. As the word says it, toxic is something very, very bad. They have constrained relationship. They are not empathetic. They do not accommodate another person. They do not know how to love. They do not know how to feel for other people. They do not know how to give unconditional love, even to their children and to their spouses. And they are full of dramatic issues. They do not feel any pain. They do not consider consequences, but they can even break marriages as much as they know. They can kick children out of the families and they don't feel a thing, because literally they are toxic. They are brought up with the childhood painful experiences that they are still holding on. They are still attached to their childhood experiences. They have refused to acknowledge, yes, I went through the pain and I don't want to pass this pain to my children. The children may be successful academically, but socially they are very poor. They are very poor, and emotionally they are very poor, because they are brought up in a very toxic home, in a very dramatic home, and they inherit this from this ugly environment, and they have very constrained relationships, and they are likely to exhibit bizarre behavior of looking peace to substance abuse, or knowing how to go over it after teenage, because they don't have to express themselves at a family level. Another one that exists is dramatic. Is dramatic, I mean psychotic. A psychotic narcissistic personality is actually a very aggressive personality. It's a person who is full of anger. It's a person full of rage, and it's a person who can commit a crime without thinking of aftermath consequences. There's a person who can kill. These are people who become serial killers. They are people who do not have a feeling for other people, and no one else matters. And they do not have a room for arguments. They do not have a room for suggestions, but their words is final. They do not have a two-way communication. They have a blended communication, or they literally don't encourage any communication at all. And they're very authoritative. They do not have a room for dialogue, and their word is final, and it is completely final. We have a closet narcissistic personality. It is not easy to identify such a person in the society, and we live with them. It is not easy because they are not toxic. They do not cause harm to anyone, but unfortunately they are still emotionally empty, and they always want to fake that they are selfless when they are with other people. Unfortunately, when they pretend that they are selfless within themselves, they will incur a lot of expenses, because literally they want to be admired by other people. They want to be very successful, and they can do anything not to be overtaken by another person as far as success is concerned. Unfortunately enough, as much as they pretend to be selfless, yet they are very bad. They have people who are harboring a lot of anger. They carry anger with themselves. They are not forgiving. And at the same time, they are very jealous. They don't want other people to succeed in one way or the other, but they want everybody to be below them. Another personality we have, as far as narcissistic is concerned, is exhibition. An exhibitive narcissistic personality, they are people who take advantage of others. They do not care how much you're going to spend on them. They do not care how much you're going to lend them, but they'll never refund the money. They will never keep promises. They are people who are never here or there. And there are people who do not keep friendships, but they jump from one relationship to the other, and they go taking advantage of other people. And the purpose for this is just to become smart. It's just to look nice. It's just to actually get admired. They can dress in very expensive clothes, more than they can afford. They have a lot of incongruence in their life. They do not know how to understand the real self and ideal self, and the incongruence is too much, and they are prone to depression. They want to be admired for whatever reason. They want to wear good clothes, they want to drive a good car, they want to live big, yet it is not according to how much they can afford. And the moment they post something on the social media, it's not liked, it's not commented upon, it can push them to severe depression. We have a bully. Bully narcissistic personality is one person who is literally bad, literally person who can do anything to get anything, a person who can kill to get out of you. He can kill you to remove you out of their way. They can do anything that can make them succeed, and they enjoy. In another term, we can refer to them as a sadist. They are people who can make you get sacked, and they rejoice when other people are suffering. They are not empathetic. They do not have emotional attachment to any feelings of another person. They do not know how to give love, but they find pressure when somebody else is going through a pain, and they are likely to inflict those pains, and nobody can get on their way, but they will push you out to get to their success. They do not have a second thought, and unfortunately enough, they do not have relationships with people. Unfortunately, they don't recognize that, and they don't care about it unless awareness is created so that actually they can work with themselves. They can even kill a wife to get what they have. And especially if a wife maybe has a life insurance, or maybe a wife is more successful, they have a plot somewhere, and maybe it is the wife's name, and she's getting on his way to attain this or to sell the property. He can do anything to get you out of the way, and therefore it is very, very important to understand that kind of a person. And most of the time, they do not remember that they broke your heart, that they did bad to you, and they'll still come back to you, because literally they have gone over what they wanted to get and they got, and they're still chasing after another thing. Another one that we have is seductive. Seductive narcissistic personality is that personality that is so loving. They put you on top of the game. They promise you heaven here on earth, and the moment they give you the heaven and you're riding on the heaven, if you came into their life to gain sex, you will give them sex, they will have it in plenty, and when they are done with you, they drop you like a bombshell. They do not care how you fell, and they do not care how they make you hit rock bottom. But you hit that rock bottom, and however you try to reach out to them, they'll not give you the opportunity to reach out, because the world revolves within me, I and myself, and no one else. They got what they wanted, and therefore they're chasing what they want elsewhere, and they leave you nursing your negative emotions, and they make many people feel crushed. They bring many people down emotionally and socially, and even sometimes intellectually, because they can drop you when you're in the peak of your academic. And that's why we want to allow our young people to understand the kind of narcissistic personalities we have. so that they can work on themselves. Elder people who have narcissistic personality, and they're having a lot of conflict within themselves and with their families, so that they can work on themselves and find a way to get about it, over it. We have vulnerable group. A vulnerable group could be a woman who has a trait of narcissistic genetically, and the moment now she gets married in a narcissistic person, this person can give you the reason to stick because you believe you cannot get another person. Unfortunately, the toxic relationships is whereby you find that I may not get another partner, and you stick to an abusive relationship, you stick to an abusive man, you stick to an abusive woman, because you think the world come to an end the moment you break such toxic relationships. And most of these people, you find that they have a lot of low self-esteem. They do not have self-value, and they do not know how to create their emotional intelligence. And at the same time, we have grandiose people who are very aggressive. At the same time, they are very bold. They can do anything to fit anywhere. And all the narcissistic personalities can actually fit in this grandiosity, because literally they are all bold in one way or the other, and they have that self-confidence to hurt others. And therefore, we want to identify ourselves, know what we are, know where we are as far as narcissistic is concerned, so that we can be able to work on ourselves, build at least a healthy relationship, and bring forth healthy children who will not seek peace in substance abuse, and who will not be carried away by their peers and be promised peace in substance abuse, who will not get an ultimate solution in suicide, leaving us with an ultimate punishment. Thank you so much, and we meet another time.